All right, cool.
Cool. Yeah, we're good to go. You want to start with a little intro, Bree?
Yeah. All right, guys. Welcome back to the Independent Podcast, an independent podcast for independent artists by independent podcasts.
Good work.
Okay.
You
Let
messing
me
up, Bree. What
restart
you
that.
doing, Bree?
I'm so sorry.
Take two.
Welcome back to the Independent Podcast, a podcast for independent artists by independent artists. Today is a different type of episode. We have a special guest. Just a little backstory. I was monitoring comments on TikTok as I do, and I saw a comment that said, I have a song blowing up. Should I monetize my TikTok account? I was curious. I clicked his page, and I saw a video of this gorgeous dude with long hair and his dog sitting on the stairs with the most beautiful song playing in the background. It's been stuck in my head ever since.
You have been humming it like crazy.
It's crazy. So please welcome to the podcast to talk about his new release and just to pick Connor and Nick's brain, Van Andrew.
What's up, Van?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Wow, what an intro.
That was off the dome, too.
Wow. Wow. Will you do all of my intros, please?
Yeah, for sure.
You're just gonna become the intro person.
Yeah,
You do it
I
well.
love it. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, of course. Where are you from? Where are you living?
So, born and raised in Texas, but I've kind of lived all over. But I moved to Nashville about 2 years ago. So
Gotcha,
that's
gotcha.
where we're at now.
Awesome.
So let's dive right in, because with this podcast, it's less about like storytelling and more just like business stuff and practical steps people can take. What's going through your head right now? Like,
That's a great question. It's been stressful. I'll say that. I'll be honest. Super thankful, super humbled. Honestly, this whole past week has been a blur. I've just been like playing catch up. I got into a bit of trouble with this song because I leaked it out on TikTok to try and kind of build it up, for whenever I release it. And I leaked the non-mixed version. And then overnight it kind of took off. And then me and like my producer and like mixing guy and all that just started scrambling because all the comments started saying like, we need this now. We want this yesterday. And so I want to get it to them, but it's like, as you guys know, like you also want it to be, the best quality you can. So that's been my life, is just, I also work full time. So I've been trying to like handle this as well as like working too.
You know what I'll say to touch on that? Oftentimes you have something like that go viral. Like think about this. You got David Kushner. He has a bunch of songs go really viral. The demos he posts are recorded on his phone. He records his demos on his voice memo, and those are the demos that he posts on TikTok for content. And then you get the mix version to come out, the released version, and people always say, we want the other version. We want how it sounded before. Because there's an energy, there's a vibe around that sound. It feels real and raw.
Right.
Oftentimes people like that better. So sometimes if you have something go viral, sometimes better not to change it. And then one thing, release that song, bro. Stop promoting music before it's out.
I know. Don't worry. I've learned my lesson with this one for one.
Well, that's
I
good,
won't
that's good.
leak a song that's not like mixed and ready
No,
to go.
out.
But yeah, that's fair. Well, that's the thing. Well, what's ironic about this whole thing is I've been watching you guys podcast and like I've commented on a few things and like really learned a lot from kind of your process. And so I was going to tease it out and then knew that the bulk of the work would come after it was released and kind of that thing. Well, it's the best problem you can have is it took off before it was even released. So I plan on following it up once it's out with a bunch of, marketing like you guys have done on your videos. But this was a whole like learning experience. And then two, I think my wrestle, and this is a question for you guys. My wrestle has been, I don't just want to be, and I think probably every artist would say this, but I don't just want to be like a TikTok artist, if you will, to the point where I want the song to have the quality of, if I could pitch it for song sync, if it could go on a TV show, like movies, like especially this one's a little more cinematic.
Yeah.
And so I'm keeping that in the back of my brain as far as like mixing and stuff goes is, yes, I want to give it to the people. Yes, I want them to be able to like listen to it. But I also want to think ahead where like, is Hollywood going to like want this quality? Is this going to be is this, going to be able to, if Lana Del Rey or like Harry Styles or one of those artists come on, is mine going to be the next in line to play as far as like the same quality goes. And so these are the things I'm like wrestling with while I'm, scrambling to get it out.
I'll tell you this, with the amount of views you did on those 2 videos, right? 2 videos went viral.
Yeah, a couple, yeah.
Yeah. So your song would probably right now be doing like 50K a day, 60K a day on streaming on Spotify or Apple Music. And just as like an FYI, that's like 8 to 10 grand a month.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you don't have that song out.
Right.
And then I think in terms of syncs, like if it were to land a big placement, which I genuinely think it will because I picture a movie when I hear it,
Yeah.
you can still like change stuff up later and maybe make like a syncable version that you're more happy with for the film,
Sure.
blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we always prioritize releasing and then promoting to get those streams first.
And,
So-
and
That makes a lot of sense.
That quality is subjective, by the way. That quality that you're trying to perfect is very subjective. Something that you'd
Sure.
be like, oh, this is ready. And then Hollywood comes around, they're like, what is this, bro?
Yeah.
You know, or you're like,
Right.
no way this is gonna do it, but whatever, I'll release it. And then
Right.
Hollywood's like, yo, I love this. So just keep
Sure.
that in mind.
As
What-
the
Sure.
one person in this chat that doesn't make music, I am that person. I thought it was a finished song when I heard the sound. And I was like, oh, that was a creative choice to make it feel very like acoustic and
Sure.
distant and like dreamy. I thought it was finished.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's very. I will say with that song specifically, it's very like we've got the rough mix. I'm working with some very talented people, and so that's the soundscape. It won't change much from that. It's just more balances and levels with the mastering side to push it to that next. But all the pieces are there.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an idea because, originally I was saying always put out what has been going viral because I've seen so many times. I think of that artist,
Lennon Stella.
Lennon Stella. Yeah, she had this like acoustic cover that went super viral on TikTok, and then she put it out, and it was recorded in a studio, and it sounded way different. And every comment literally was, "Release the original, release the original."
Yeah.
Same with that dude, Arden Jones.
Right. But what I was going to say is you make a really good point because I definitely could see this song getting syncs and a Hollywood production to match the soundscape of their soundtrack is going to want that professionally mixed and mastered. So you make
They'll ask for the stems. They'll ask for the stems.
Or why not release 2 versions? Why not have one of them in brackets be like, the raw
Demo.
demo or something like that. You
Sure.
could put out both versions.
All right, so you're
Cool.
a designer by day, you were just saying.
Yeah, so that's my day job is I'm an illustrator and designer. And so I'm able to do all the artwork myself, which helps. And so I got the photos back in from the shoot today. And I'm scrambling this afternoon to get the artwork done. So we're very close to like having the finished product ready to go.
Yeah.
I have a question
Instead
for
of
you.
just, yeah, go ahead.
When the song is done, what is your plan for release? Are you like, do you have a release date in mind? Are you going to wait a couple weeks, do it instantly? What's the plan there?
So that's literally like every comment in my feed right now is when is the release date? When is the release date? And at this point in the past, I've used like DistroKid and they make you wait like a week or two to like get on Spotify playlists and that kind of thing. But my producer recommends using TuneCore. So I'm going to dive into looking into that, which I would love your opinions on. But he has a couple friends in the marketing department that I'm going to try and expedite as much as possible. So if I can, because I think the whole reason you wait is to get the hype, but it's already there. The wave's already there. So I just want to get it up as soon as possible.
Yeah, my advice would be just use DistroKid, submit the release date for today or whenever you upload it.
Yeah.
Let that thing out. Don't worry about editorials. How many Spotify followers do you have?
Well, it's jumped up. Before Thursday, it was like 1,200 follower wise. Now it's like 16,000.
Amazing.
16,000. Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what you should do there then is don't worry about pitching a playlist. When that song starts getting traction organically from the people that are going to go listen to it, Spotify will add it to playlists anyway. So
Gotcha.
you don't have to worry about release day so much if you got these people going to it. For example, Icy Pop, one of my number one song right now, was in maybe one editorial on release day, and then it chilled for like 3 months, and then I started posting content for it, and it went viral, and then I got in maybe like 10, 20 editorial playlists after I did the work to make it go viral.
So they'll catch up.
They're paying attention to who's liking what. If there's a spike somewhere, they're gonna be like, oh, people love this. Let's add it to some playlists then.
Cool.
They're
That
curated
makes
by
sense.
real people. So That's my advice is literally, and my advice is always business, like independent artists, like income, revenue. How do I grow a business? So anything I say is going to be focused on that, and I don't want to like take away from your art. Like if you really love the process of all this stuff, do that. If that's what makes you
Sure.
happy. My advice is always coming from a place of how do I maximize this business? You know?
Yeah. And
Well,
that makes sense because that's ultimately my goal is like, I want to be able to do this full time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was even my question to you guys was like, how do I take now this like momentum and push that into, obviously you want to continue the momentum, but like, I know both of you guys have families, so it's probably harder to like tour and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
But how do I obviously like switch that from, oh great, hype, that's awesome, to okay, I want this to be a career? Because I would rather take on less clients with my design work and just
Hmm.
go full time with this,
Yeah.
tour, merch, that kind of thing.
How are you with how fast do you create music? Is it like a process for you, or do you
I'm
create
sitting
like
on a completed album right now. This is just the first single.
okay? And that's one thing. Like you know, what I would do is release all those songs individually as singles. I would release them, and this is like I said, from business mindset, from growth.
Sure.
Albums are tough. They're tough to get people to go listen to your album. Now, albums are good for getting people who already care to create a deeper connection with them. But if you don't
Hmm.
have enough people that already care, oftentimes albums might fall on deaf ears. When if you promoted every song like a single, dropped one every
Hmm.
week, I don't know
Yeah.
how many songs are on the album, 12, whatever. That's 3 months of releasing every week. You'll be amazed how
mhm.
much your numbers are going up, your profits going up.
Sure.
Um, and another thing, you're viral right now.
Hmm.
I would have dropped that song. Hopefully, would already had it out. Since it's not, I would drop it, and the next week I'll drop another one. You have attention, you have eyes. Feed them right now
So
instead of
it's
making them
better
wait.
than so it's better than to ride. You wouldn't space it out too far then.
I would not. I would
Okay.
not. Like for example, Icy Pop and Serotonin. They were both going viral at the same time. The two of my
Mm.
songs. They were literally. I would post Icy Pop. It would get 5 million views. I would post Serotonin. It would get 5 million views. Post Icy Pop. It would do 10 million views. Serotonin 5 million. They were both viral at the same
They
time
got on
and
the
Sure.
Spotify viral 50 US at the same time as
at
well.
the same time.
Oh
Two
wow.
different singles, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And if you do choose to do an album, if that's something like inside of you, like I really
Yeah.
worked hard on this album, it's conceptualized, it's blah blah blah, I love it. Just promote every song as if it were a single. Release the album and pretend every song was a single. Create content for every single one. Don't create content.
Sure.
Have an album drop. Just create a song. Like promote your music as this is my singles.
Van, I think the
Cool.
hype that you're scared of is if you had this one song and then you didn't release for 6 months, a year. Then, like, I could see hype dying, but you're sitting
Oh, okay.
on, I bet, what, 10, 12 songs? Like, that hype. And
10
if all
songs,
this,
yeah.
and man, if all the songs are that quality as Sad Cowboys and rock and roll, you're good. Yeah, so we were talking about hype, and you were saying how Sad Cowboys is a very specific sound.
Yeah, so Sad Cowboys and rock and roll is like it's a very, and that's the feedback I've gotten a lot of. It's like there's not a lot of songs out here like this. It's like almost like if like Roy Rogers and like Lana Del Rey had a baby kind of a thing. Like it's a bit of an old sound, but it's also kind of a newer pop sound. So that we felt like people would resonate with, and obviously they have. But some of the other songs, at heart, I'm a sad boy. Like I write a lot of like singer songwriter ballady type stuff, and so they're not all quite that either cinematic or catchy or hooky. And so I'm wrestling with like now, and this record specifically is it covers kind of all, I mean, quite a few genres. Like it's anything from like that bedroom pop, like Laney 1975 vibe. Like I do some falsetto stuff on some of the songs,
Hmm.
to like this a little bit of like old school country, to some like Phoebe Bridgers like finger guitar picking stuff. So my wrestle now is like, one, at first I was nervous because I was like, are people going to resonate with the rest of the music, or have they already put me in this specific category and they're going to be like, the next song, it doesn't sound the same, like go
Mm.
back to that stuff. Which was kind of the point of this whole album, was like, look, these are all the styles I love, I'm just going to explore and like put it out. But I've been a little bit reassured because while people are impatiently waiting, they're going back. I already have 2 EPs and a couple singles out, and they're like going back and listening to all my old stuff.
Yeah.
which I'm proud of it, but I'm not even as stoked on it. It's been a couple years. Like, so if they're cool with that, I'm hoping that they'll like this new stuff
What?
too.
Just a curious question. That would be a good little soundbite. What are your daily streams now? After it went viral, like what were they before, and what is
Sure.
your catalog streams now?
So before last Thursday, I think I was like 13,500 monthly listeners.
Okay.
And then right now it's like 31,000
And
just in a week.
what about your daily catalog streams? Do you know that one?
Oh, I'm not even sure.
Okay.
It's definitely jumped up because I
Yeah.
had a couple that were sitting, at 80,000 plays, and then they've already jumped up to 100,000, just the two
Awesome.
singles individually. So I should have monitored that a little bit better. I could go back and check.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back when we were talking about TuneCore and DistroKid. From my personal experience of using TuneCore and DistroKid, the upload time won't be any different. So
Okay.
I don't think you need to switch to TuneCore. To give even more of a specific example, so Nick and I put out the song called Easy recently. I uploaded it to DistroKid on Tuesday, and it dropped that same Thursday night, and it went into every store on time.
And they got
Oh,
two
wow.
editorial playlists.
So for us, I don't know if they gave us if they gave the song any special treatment because Nick has been with them for so long and maybe he's
Sure.
a prioritized artist. I don't know, but it went up in 2.5 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, delaying the process of release anymore just to consider switching distributors, to me, so not necessary. Agree.
Sure.
100%.
I see it far too many times. People hype the song up, they promote it, people are in love, they take forever to drop it, then no one cares because
That's what I've
been too
been
long.
nervous about, which is why I'm trying as hard as I can to get it done.
And I don't think that'll happen to you. You're not like
don't
making
either.
people go 3-4 weeks. You're doing the work. You're gonna get it done. You're gonna release it.
Sure.
I'm saying, don't put all your eggs in a basket for a playlist by doing a 4 to 6 week like thing, and then lose the people that were already there and waiting and wanting it.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's I'm glad to hear you say that, because that's kind of where my head's been at, is just, I know it's going to take a little time to get into every store. But I've kind of already in my head bypassed the whole wait to a playlist thing, because there's already hype around it.
And the main two stores, Apple and Spotify, and those go
Right.
those go in very quickly. Like I'll
Cool.
release a song, Spotify, Apple Music, then 3 weeks later be like, your song's now in Deezer, and I'm like, oh well,
Cool.
Right.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not, and I need to actually on a artist level, I haven't even dove that far into like iTunes. Like my music's all on there,
Yeah.
but I'm not even as familiar with that interface. Like I usually just monitor like Spotify and Spotify for artists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you
they
put
have
this
them.
song out, you're going to have to get familiar with all of it because those numbers are going to shoot up. You have
Yeah.
to check them.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And if that thing continues to go viral and numbers continue to go up, and you get an email from anyone wanting to buy it or whatever, like buying your song, hit us up and we'll give you like advice on that stage as well.
Cool.
Just,
Yeah.
because it can be really enticing when you see those emails and somebody says, I'll give you 50 grand and whatever, and you're like, what did you say to me for one song or like whatever, and
Sure.
but if
They'll
you
be hitting
wait
you up for sure.
if you wait and you own that thing, for all you need is a song or your catalog to do like 33K a day to make 1 million streams a month, which is give or take $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So if you can get your catalog doing 100K a day, all of a sudden you're making 5 figures a month, and that's the goal, right? Release your
Right.
music, have that compound on top of each other.
Sure.
It's much easier to get a full catalog of music. For example, you got 5 songs out. You need each one of those songs to do like 6K a day to do 1 million streams a month. If you got 100 songs out, each one of those songs got to do 350 streams a day. Like which one's more attainable?
Right. Which is real reasonable
Yeah.
to when you look at it that way. That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
So it's
Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's like more at bats to hit a home run. That's all.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thankful for right now, is like, and that's part of the reason my streams have jumped up, is I already have like 12 songs out. And then this will add another 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so hopefully that'll compound. But I'm curious from your end, when you see this spike happen on a new song at the level that, I mean, you've already proven yourself successful, both of you. How do you, does it maintain stream wise as the months go on?
You have a spike, and then it comes and finds a level, right?
Okay.
Like let's call it catalog. Like for example, I was doing like 20, 30K streams a day in my catalog, and then I had Pineapple go viral. So Pineapple took my catalog up to like 500,000 streams a day. Come down, it leveled out at like 250 or like 200, 250 a day in my catalog. Then I have Icy Pop, took my catalog to 900,000 streams a day, and now it's leveled out at like 600K a day. So every time you have that spike, it comes down and you find a new level. Like you find a new place where it will sit. And if you had like the super viral songs, like man, they'll sit and use your playlist. They'll be in there a long time. You won't like you'll find a good comfortable place. Yeah.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I even think this song has so much potential because I've noticed it already has 3,000 uses as a sound on TikTok. That's
Bro, get that song out.
That's what's been wild is watching even that number. Like I'm constantly tagged in videos of people, even in settings that I wouldn't have, like kids dancing in the rain and like couples like making out. Like they're
I
using
swear,
that.
bro. You don't release this damn song.
Yeah, every
I-
time you post a
believe
new
me, I am
video, it hurts my heart a
trying.
little bit. I'm like, dude, your streams right now would be insane.
I know. I also really messed up, and I'm curious what you. Please don't hate me. I'm curious what your advice is on this. I didn't know what I was doing. This is the first time I've had a song do this. I put the full song on TikTok so I could grab sound bites of it. So if you go into the videos, the soundtrack, you can just push play and hear the whole song.
Oh, interesting.
And
Wow.
that's what's been a little painful is thinking about how many hundreds of thousands of plays TikTok is getting instead of
Something that'll
Spotify.
pay you for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason I messaged that and asked you guys, like, should I be like monetizing TikTok? And so that was why that was really helpful to like.
No,
Well,
creator
process
fund is
that.
pretty
Yeah.
pointless if you ask me.
Yeah,
Cool.
I wouldn't dive into that. And somehow TikTok does pay you for your like people using the actual sound of your song, but it's like a much less royalty rate. Because typically it's only a 60-second snippet or less.
Sure.
So.
Which along that note, I was asking my producer is actually a manager of another artist here in Nashville, and so he's been really great to like ask questions to, and he's actually on tour in Europe right now, and so I was asking him this as well, but I have just not had the time to do this, and now it's like top of my list. But are you guys signed with like ASCAP or BMI as far as like royalties and that go? And do you have any advice on what you prefer and like what that looks like?
I'm ASCAP, Connor.
BMI.
BMI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Song
would-
Trust,
Yeah.
Sound Exchange, all these places, they all do the same stuff, right? So
Sure.
it's just whatever you feel good about.
Cool.
Yeah, my advice, because some of them work in tandem, but the three that Nick named are important. So first you have your PRO. You can decide ASCAP, BMI. Those are all the same. Just choose one. Register yourself. And then I would highly recommend looking into Song Trust, which
Okay.
is a publishing administrator. And you need to be signed up with a PRO in order to sign up for Song Trust. And then what I do is when I have a song out, I log into my Song Trust, I register the song, and then Song Trust automatically puts it on BMI and does all the stuff in the back end. And they will collect your publishing royalties for you. But they can only do that within North America, and that's when Sound Exchange comes in because they do worldwide. So I would definitely recommend signing up with ASCAP or BMI. Either one, doesn't matter. Sign up with Song Trust, sign up with Sound Exchange, and that will cover all your publishing
Cool.
royalties. Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think Nick. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say one other thing, just like a little side note, is what do you want for your career? Where do you see yourself at? And you kind of make different decisions based on that. Everything we
Sure.
talk about is from an independent perspective, but I hear you talk about touring and etc. Maybe build a team around you.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to be aware of what it is that you want out of your career, and the best ways to approach that. Now, you don't have to sign in order to build a team around you, but there are
Sure.
places like tour management companies and Indify and blah blah. If you go there and you say, "Hey, these are my stats," you build a little pitch deck, a little like showing your accounts, your songs, your streams, where your listeners are, blah blah. You give it to them, say, "Hey, I'd like to tour." They'll do it for you. They'll take their cut or whatever. They'll plan your whole tour, and then you just show up and you make it happen. So
Sure.
there's ways that you can do it without signing, staying independent. Owning your masters, and just kind of being self-aware. What do you want from your career? Because I don't want to tour, not really. Like I might
Sure.
one day, but it's not my focus.
Yeah, that's probably where we differ, because that is like, I really want to tour. Like I want to tour, and I want to do. That's even what I mean. Like I I would love to tour, at least for a while. Obviously, I'm single. I'm young. Like I don't
Not for
really
long.
have as much. Yeah, I will say I have never been proposed to this many times in my entire life.
Yeah. I mean, with a name like Van Andrew, you need to be on tour, dude.
That's true. And that hair, man.
Hair,
Hey,
the
I'll rock it while I
mustache.
have it, right?
I had long hair. Bree said she hated it. You're getting
Well, it
you're
works
getting
on
praise.
different ones.
Oh
It works
my
for it
gosh.
works for
Uh-oh,
different
uh-oh.
personalities.
Jeez, man, you guys have a moment, huh?
Oh, brother, Nick. The last
Hey,
thing I'll
man,
say
you're a
about
very
this
good-looking
specific
guy.
song is Nick once told us to, I don't know how he worded it, but it's to sum it up, just focus on what you can control. So it's like all these people telling you like, oh, maybe look at a different distributor. This marketing team will help with these playlists. It's like all of that is out of your control. The editorials, the time frame for getting on stores. You can focus finishing the song, you can focus uploading it as soon as possible, and you can focus on building consistent content. And
Sure.
then the other stuff will come.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just
That's very
just
reassuring.
make sure you're consistent.
Yeah. Well, I will say on that note, before this song hit, just kind of as a testament to that, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, a few months ago, it wasn't that long ago, I had like 1,600 TikTok followers, and I was talking to my producer, and he was like, "You should probably push this since we're like prepping, obviously for starting to release stuff." And so I did. Like my goal was 1 to 6 videos a day, and very rarely did I miss a day. Like even if I only posted one video, and so I grew it up to 28,000. And so I saw the proof of just like consistency. But what was really special about last Thursday when I posted that first video was that was the first time that a music related video took off.
Come
And
on.
so now like my head is switched where I'm like, okay, people actually do like my music. Now I'm going all in on the music side, because I tried with like the humor and with the like positive messaging, which, not to negate that, I'm still very much a proponent of mental health and positive messages and encouraging people.
Yeah.
But it's so encouraging now to be like, oh, just my song can have that effect and like get out
Yeah.
there. So it's cool to see, but the consistency is something that I've been working on and will continue to do, because I've seen the proof in the pudding with that.
And now
Yeah,
since
we love
posting
it.
your song on Thursday, what's your follower count at now?
I just hit 95,000 today.
Come on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100K in the morning, by the morning.
Oh, absolutely. In
very
no time.
likely. Yeah, which is insane.
Come
Which, on that note, this is hilarious. There's a gal at my favorite coffee shop named Lindsay, and we were talking about TikTok. And I said, yeah, I'm on TikTok. I'm trying to push it for my music. She's like, well, I don't really think you're TikTok famous until you're over 100,000. And so I've had that in the back of my head, so I can go back and be like, hey, you have to consider me famous now, because
All
I
right,
hit
so
your mark.
That's
So
free coffee. dude.
what we're gonna do is
Yeah.
we're gonna clip this with a screenshot of the fact that you're at 100,000 right now, which will probably be in, if
Boom.
not tomorrow, the day after, and this is gonna get on Lindsay's For You page. So what's
Yeah.
up, Lindsay?
Oh
What up,
my
Lindsay?
God.
What's up, Lindsay?
Find Lindsay.
Find Lindsay. Yeah, for
Find
sure.
Lindsay, duet this.
TikTok. Find Lindsay.
Dude, TikTok's powerful. They can find anyone.
I love it.
It's
right, well,
terrifying.
It
dude,
is.
this has been such a pleasure talking to you. Do you have any other like just thoughts or questions? Like,
I think just real quick, 2 questions that I would love for you to touch on is, one, you kind of mentioned it with a team. What are your thoughts on, like, I think my biggest thing right now is like management, since I'm juggling everything. What I've been encouraged, and which is kind of where I've pushed it to up until this point, is just let that come to you. Do you think that's the best way? Like people will hit you up when it's the right time, or how do you go about that? Obviously,
Yeah.
you guys are a duo, so that helps, like being able to tag team with that. But like, I don't know, Nick, do you have management or?
No, I don't have management. Now, but I do have someone, Bree.
What's up?
Someone.
she like keeps an eye on my emails and
Gotcha.
I do
like
all like the logistic stuff to get the boring stuff off his plate so he
yeah.
can focus on what Nick does best, which is writing catchy hooks and
Yeah. And
Cool.
I
fire
will
songs.
say, if that's all the manager's doing, do not give them 20% or whatever they're asking for.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Sure.
nuts.
I
Pay
just
them,
do
pay
it for
them
Nick
little.
as a friend.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then
But
in
in
terms
general,
of Connor's management, same thing. I just
Yeah.
handle his inbox too.
and that's all that is. And now could I do it myself?
Yeah.
Probably, but like do I want to? No. So it's very helpful to have
Sure.
Bree, and I'm really grateful to have that type of help from her. But I don't think depends on your goal for your career, but I don't think anyone needs a manager. Now,
Sure.
unless we're talking like A-list.
Right.
Talking like A-list, right? Like somebody's bringing you coffee and they're making sure your favorite smoothies in the fridge and you get to the hotel and they're like, like that type of
Right. Right.
stuff.
Right.
Like that, come on with it. That's a
Yeah.
nice life. But they're also getting, 20% of 100 million a year, not of
Right.
what you're trying to make a living off of. So,
Well, and I think that's the catch right there that I'm wrestling with is um, I'm I'm a freelancer as far as the design world goes, and so
mhm,
I manage all that myself too. So with this starting to pop off, it's this
yeah.
weird juxtaposition of like doing
I'll give you just a
everything.
little inspiration. I am a husband and a father. I ran my media company of photography and cinematography. It's called New Gen
Cool.
Media. That was my main source of income for my whole family. I've been doing that for like 8 to 10 years. I don't remember. Um, Now I made music in my free time. So I did my media company. I made sure my family was good, and then I made music. So I did that
Sure.
for the whole first year, the whole second year. I just went full-time music this year.
Wow.
Um,
Congrats. That's awesome.
yeah, it's really great. Could I have done it before then? Probably, but like it's a little, it's my
It's a little
family, right?
terrifying.
I
Yeah.
gotta
Sure.
make
Well,
sure I'm providing.
that was the reality of yesterday. Is I set up this photo shoot. I got a couple deals as far as like trying to like, hey, I'm just paying for this all out of pocket. Like,
Yeah,
can you give me a
yeah,
discount kind of
yeah.
thing? And then I'd come back from the hype of that, like TikTok's blowing up. I do a photo shoot, and then I
Yeah.
get this message on my phone that's like, you have $14 in your bank account, and I'm like, okay, this is the reality of
Son
my
of
life right
love.
now.
Release that
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, if that song was out and then like you're 3 months later after, DistroKid catches up with the payments from Spotify
Mm,
and you saw that that thing said 8 grand in it,
yeah.
after the song was out and you saw 8 grand, that's a little more reassuring. Um, I think where you're at, like you said, you have no girlfriend, like it's just
Mm-mm.
you, like there's no other responsibility, maybe a dog or something.
I got a pup.
Um,
Yeah.
you got a pup, so dude, now is the time.
For
You know,
sure.
now is the time.
Bria, I know there was one topic you wanted to touch on as far as the Dolly AI
Oh
art.
yeah, I saw a comment from you on our post about Dolly, the AI artwork.
Oh,
And you
yes.
said, as a songwriter and a graphic designer, I'm struggling with this. So
Yeah.
I was
Hmm.
like, I want to pick your brain because rarely do we get someone that's doing both.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, someone actually commented. So I commented on that AI artwork is what you're talking about, right?
Yep,
Where it
yep.
generates stuff for you.
Yep.
And that's been my full-time career, design and illustration for over 10 years now. And so I do a lot in the music industry. In fact, I have a sketch due for a band today that I got to get to. But so seeing that graphic artists wrestle a lot with as do musicians, getting underpaid and undervalued for the work and the time that they do. Where, I mean, if you look at it the other way, the visuals a lot of time is what's making the bulk of the money for people. So when you get Fiverr or something like that, it's kind of like cutting everyone's legs out from underneath them. Now, the flip side is I'm also an artist, a musician. So I understand, like, you got to do things as cheaply as possible to make a living. So it's this weird juxtaposition. So seeing that kind of caught me in the middle of both. But I think the beauty of art is, in the same way you'll never have an AI completely be able to write a song for you that has the same soul that you put into it. I think art's the same way. If you just want a picture of a dolphin and slap a title on it and that's your album art, you don't really care. Awesome.
That's
but if
me.
you want,
That's
yeah,
Nick.
which I remember you talking about that with
Yeah,
your
that's me.
Pineapple or
Yeah.
whichever release it was.
Yeah.
That's cool and that's great because oftentimes that's all it needs.
Yeah.
But like I'm also doing like custom illustrations for like
Yeah, yeah.
bands and like that kind of thing. And you can't, if they want that style, like they have to come to me
Yeah,
for that.
absolutely.
So I think that's the balance that I'm seeing with that. Someone mentioned also to my comment that graphic artists might actually be able to use that tool as a way to get assets for themselves to
Yep.
use. And as I started looking at it that way, I realized, oh, that's great. Because the thing is people are paying you for your eye. They're paying you for the years of experience. So
absolutely.
that could just streamline what I do. So it actually might be a great asset.
Yep. Yeah. I think there's two sides of it, and there's always a market for everything.
For sure.
Yes, it'll get more competitive, but it'll also draw away the clients that aren't willing to pay you.
Yeah. And that's I'm fine with that.
And what'll happen is a lot of the people who are taking those lower end paying clients, budgeting, they'll stop doing artwork because they're not making any money, and it'll leave the high end paying clients who are looking for the actual artists that are going to create something with a story and custom with a vision. And so I think what'll happen is you'll eliminate the bottom end and you'll just have a higher end with less competition.
That makes a lot of sense. I think you're exactly right.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
That was also, just on that note, we preach a lot about producers building brands, but graphic artists, like, build personal brands. Because like Van was saying, like, I used this example with Connor earlier. I'm like, an AI could create a song, but people are fans of Nick now. People are fans of Connor. They're fans of Van. Like, you can't artificially create that. So if you're an artist, a graphic designer, build yourself a brand and let people become a fan of you.
Imagine this. You're a cover art guy. Let's just say that for this thing. You're a cover art guy. You have a TikTok with 500,000 followers on it for only your cover art designs. So now when people pay you to do a cover art, you can have an add-on that says, I'll post your song on my TikTok of me designing your cover art. And now all of a sudden you can charge $1,000 for that.
That's great.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that's
because
great.
you have an audience. That's genius.
That's genius, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
Yeah.
good.
But don't do that on your music TikTok. Make separate
Yeah,
TikToks.
no, I need to start to separate. And again, like before, it was the hub was me sharing everything about me. Now that my music is taking a front stage, this account will be more music, and I'll probably do a portfolio account too.
Smart.
That's great. Awesome.
So yeah, bottom line is, Van, at one point we tried all the things that people told us to do, like traditional music industry stuff. And now we're doing it this way, our own way. And like, just for reference, Connor supports me and our son just off music.
That's awesome.
So like,
for another
just as
reference-
inspiration, you know what I mean?
For another
Totally.
reference, labels ask us what to do.
We actually have a call
That's
with a big
crazy.
label at 2:30 p.m. to see if we can help, build brands for their newer artists. And it's like a major label.
So before you pay attention to what they're doing, they're asking us what to do.
That's insane. I already appreciate you guys' opinion as it is, but even that on top of it makes so much more sense why you're on the cutting edge of this industry with this side of it.
Yeah.
I'll text you the name of the label after, Van.
Cool. I love that. Please do.
Well, this was so lovely.
That was great.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you guys so much for having me.
No, thank you. And thanks for being cool with us recording this, because there's such great content and gems in this that so many other artists are going to find value in.
Awesome. I love that. We're all just trying to make it. So,
And Nick, can you yell at him one more time?
Release that damn song.
you got it for you.
And then
All right, man, you're the
after you
best.
release it, we're going to get the update.
I would love that.
All right.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Groove with a two-step. Yeah, she know I'm gon' get it there. The way she move her body, yeah, she know just what she doing here. She don't mess with anybody, nah, not a single person here. Whoa,